All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to discuss the latest news on quarterback Brock Purdy getting put into concussion protocol. And it looks like Sam Darnold is going to start on Sunday for the 49ers against the Cincinnati Bengals. And yeah, this kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think anything was reported after the game, but he is in concussion protocol, and Sam Darnold at the moment looks like he's going to start for the Niners. And the line for the game, it started at the Niners being favored by 5.5. Now it's gone down to 3.5. And again, that's not what you want for the Niners. They've now dropped two straight back-to-back road games. Losing that tough game against the Browns. They could have won that game, but Moody missed the field goal. And then, of course, this past Monday against the Vikings, Kirk Cousins and that Vikings offense put up over 450 yards on the 49ers defense, which everybody looks at as the best defense in football. And it looked far from it on Monday. Now you're going to be without your starting quarterback, and Sam Darnold's going to be put in to start. And honestly, I'm curious to see how Sam Darnold will do, with this offense, because this is going to be the best supporting cast that he's had since entering the league back in 2018. Obviously, he was with the Jets, then he was with the Panthers, and now he's with the Niners. And we'll see how he is with the Niners. You're going to have McCaffrey, you'll have Kittle, you'll have Ayuk. You're just not going to have Debo. And I don't know what we'll have to look what the status is with Trent Williams, because I know he was also banged up after the Browns game as well a couple weeks ago. So I don't know what the status is with him. But yeah, that's another guy that the Niners kind of need, in this game. The Bengals front seven is respectable. So yeah, it's still questionable with the ankle. Debo obviously dealing with his injury, so he's still going to miss this game. But yeah, it's a big game for the Niners. They got to get right here. If they lose, this is going to be 3 in a row. And we'll see how Sam Darnold could do. I think Sam Darnold will still do well in this offense. You got so many playmakers. And you obviously have a great defense, behind you. So, by no means are the 49ers, do they have, no chance in this game, and they're in trouble. Well, if they lose this game, 5-3, yeah, it's not good, but, and honestly, we've seen this a lot with the 49ers over the past, several years. There's a lot of guys get hurt. And it looks like, especially during the COVID year, they were plagued with injuries. With whether it was their quarterback, Kittle was hurt that year. You had all those guys getting hurt against the Jets the second week of the season. Nick Bosa, I think who else? Somebody else on their defensive line too. I think was it Solomon Thomas when he was with them. But yeah, the 49ers dealt with a ton of injuries in 2020. They missed the playoffs. 2021, obviously they made the playoffs last year too, but this year, they're dealing with some injuries now. They've been fairly healthy, and now it's all of a sudden even Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner. They had to leave the games, but they came back, so at least that's good. But you're missing Debo, you're missing your left tackle. McCaffrey's dinged up a little bit, so. Yeah, it's definitely something to be concerned about with the Niners. Now you got your starting quarterback is in concussion protocol, so it's not good. But I think the Niners could definitely still win this game. The Bengals, obviously they're coming off of a bye, but they've they got off to a slow start this year, but they're starting to. They were at least starting to look better before the bye. But it's a tough game on the road. The 49ers are due for a win. But it might be a little bit tougher now with Purdy being out. and Darnold starting. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think the game's still going to be good. Like I said, Sam Darnold's got probably the best supporting cast that he's had, since he's entered the league. I mean, he obviously played with McCaffrey for a little bit, with the Panthers. So, but he got Kittle to throw to. You got Ayuk. So, I think it'll. The game's still going to be good, but the thing is though, if Sam Darnold goes out there and performs really well, do you got to think about, hey, maybe we roll with Darnold and we keep Purdy on the bench? Could we see another scenario like that? I'm just throwing that out there. Not saying it's going to happen, but if Sam Darnold goes out there and throws like for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, something like that, do you think, maybe we stick with the hot hand here? Because the 49ers really like Sam Darnold. So I don't know. It's it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, again, it's all speculation. Like we'll see how he performs on Sunday. But listen, Brock Purdy. It's also like Brock Purdy hasn't played well the last 2 weeks. He's turned the ball over. He had the 2 picks against the Vikings. So, I mean, we'll have to see. It's just speculation. I'm not saying it will happen, but I could definitely see like a scenario in which that does happen at some point this year. As long as, well, again, if Brock Purdy only misses this game, I mean, if he misses more than one game and Darnold plays well, that's really when that scenario would come into play. But Brock Purdy is still the guy. I think if Brock Purdy has like a really bad game, then and Sam Darnold performs well in this game, then that's another way that could happen. But I don't know. But this game should still be very good. These two teams met a couple years ago. That was the year the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. That was 2021, and that was an overtime game. Niners won in overtime, and that game was insane because that was when Ayuk scored the game-winning touchdown, and like it wasn't ruled a touchdown initially, but then they reviewed it and it was a touchdown because it was weird. I don't know how to explain it, but people know. But if you guys remember the play, you know what I'm talking about. So Ayuk caught the ball, was running down the sideline, and then his foot dragged, and he reached over the goal line, and he scored the touchdown. It was something like that, but it was crazy. I can't really explain it, but just go back to 2021 Niners defeating the Bengals in overtime. That was a great game. Had some fantasy implications with that because I went up by, some points with that because I had Ayuk. I ended up losing my matchup by like 3 because my friend had Aaron Jones that night, and he ended up having a good game, so I ended up losing by only 3. But in the moment, I was like so happy because I was like that helped me out so much, and it was just only for me to lose that game. But yeah, always a lot of drama with the 49ers. I mean, the other night, I ended up winning by .22. The Niners defense got me negative 3 points. I was better off just not starting a defense. And actually, I was going up against my friend who had Ayuk. So, that's funny enough there. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But I know, it's not coming from me, but it's speculation. But there's definitely going to be people saying, well, if Sam Darnold goes out there and plays well, do the 49ers stick with him? I don't think that. I don't think it's going to happen. But there could be a scenario in which that it does. Me personally, again, it's always a wait and see. But, like I said, Sam Darnold goes out there and plays well on Sunday. Might have to think about it. Might have to. But, it's again should still be a good game, even with Purdy being out. You hope he gets back. And he's back to full health with that. Obviously, concussions are no joke. But we'll just have to wait and see. And again, the 49ers. I mean, they really need a win. Because now now they've lost two straight. I mean, they're back at home, which should definitely help. But it's gonna be a tough game, especially also because the Bengals are coming off of a bye. They're rested, and Burrow again. That's another week for his calf to heal up. So the Bengals. It's gonna be tough, and the Niners. I mean, they're gonna have to get pressured in this game because you got picked apart by Kirk Cousins. And that offense, I mean, Burrow, obviously there's no Jefferson for the Vikings in that. There was no Jefferson for the Vikings in that game. Now you're going to go up against Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Yeah, you're going to have to get pressure because secondary might get picked apart again if you don't. So, that's a matchup to watch closely. The offensive line for the Bengals, how are they going to be against that 49ers front? Are they going to be able to do the same thing the Vikings did? We'll just have to wait and see. Obviously, we'll preview that game tomorrow, along with all the other games tomorrow. Obviously, tomorrow is a Football Friday. Tomorrow's a doubleheader. Tomorrow, you got me doing the football podcast tomorrow, and you also have the baseball. Will be on after that, and we'll preview the World Series, which begins tomorrow as well, between the Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers. That's a matchup that everybody predicted. And everything's in full swing right now. We got the sports equinox. I think I mentioned that yesterday. The NBA's back in full swing. So we got sports coming back, and it's a great time to be a sports fan. Obviously, you got a game tonight that we will preview in the next segment. So when we come back from our final break of the show, we'll preview the Buccaneers and the Bills. Obviously, you want to talk about teams that need wins. These are two teams that definitely need wins. And obviously, we discussed it a little bit before in the chat. The Bills, I think, win tonight. But, both teams are definitely desperate. But let me know what you guys think. Your thoughts on the third topic of the show, with the Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy situation. If Sam Darnold plays well, do you stick with him or you go back to Purdy? Obviously, again, it's only one game, but still, there might be people that believe that. But like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So, or in the chat. So, with that, we're going to take our final break of the show, like I said, and then when we come back, we will discuss the Thursday night game between the Bills and the Buccaneers. So, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.